Hi, I'm Catherine Christensen, a California licensed attorney, and this is Floriel, a well-loved and cared-for horse. Floriel is well-fed, housed in comfortable stables, exercised regularly, groomed regularly, and if Floriel needs medical treatment, Floriel's owner makes sure that he gets it. So, Floriel, I can tell that you're really loved and cared for, but what if something happened to your owner? I want to talk to everyone that owns a horse. Floriel and I are going to introduce you to some fast, easy steps to take, the perfect equine estate plan, and what your perfect equine estate plan needs to be enforceable. Floriel and I are back to tell you that first easy step to take to make sure your horse stays safe. And that is to have a horse owner identification card that you carry in your purse and wallet with your horse's name, your horse's location, any special instructions, and the contact information for the person who has access to your horse. Emergency personnel will know to notify that person or locate and provide for your horse. The second easy thing that you can do is to have a horse document with the same information as the horse owner card and maybe some more specific instructions, and you keep that with your other estate planning documents, and that way it'll enhance the likelihood that the appropriate person is notified of your desires regarding your horse in a timely manner. Floriel and I are back to find out which is the best, or the perfect equine estate plan. You can leave a conditional gift, which is a gift of your horse and a reasonable amount of money to someone, and some instructions for the care of your horse. You can have a testamentary trust, which is a trust that springs out of your will, but it has to be probated before it becomes effective. And you can have an inter vivos trust. An inter vivos trust becomes effective immediately and makes funds available immediately for the care of your horse. So which one is the perfect estate plan? It's the inter vivos trust. You can make it revocable. It's easy to amend. It is, the funds are immediately available, where the other two options you have to wait for probate or the will to go through probate. And if the horse guardian isn't taking proper care of your horse, that court can replace that person. And if the trustee is not abiding by the terms of your trust, that person can be replaced also. And it's easy to amend. We want to find out what it takes to make the perfect estate plan enforceable. Let's take a closer look at our chart, Floriel. The first thing is funding. Funding can be nominal. A life insurance policy where you name the trustee of your horse trust as the beneficiary, or a bank account where the trustee of your horse trust is named as death on payee. And you can also have a pour-over provision in your will for a portion of your estate to go to the trustee of your horse trust. The next thing that we need to do, and this one is very important for you, is to designate the trust beneficiary and who's also called the horse guardian. The first thing to consider is that you want to pick somebody who's sufficiently savvy in basic trust law so that they understand how the trust works and how to enforce it in case your trustee fails to provide for your horse sufficiently. The next thing you want to make sure is that this person is willing to go by your instructions for the care of your horse, and willing to assume the obligation of caring for your horse if your horse needs medical attention or special attention as your horse ages. The next step is to nominate a trustee for your trust. This can be an individual or a corporate trustee willing to administer the assets of the trust property for the benefit of your horse, and to assume the administrative tasks required by a trust. You want to nominate more than one trustee, and you also want to empower the other trustees to be able to replace the original trustee if the original trustee is not taking good care of your horse. The next thing you want to do is you want to bequeath your horse to the trustee so that the trustee can deliver custody of your horse to the horse guardian. Next, you need to determine the other property that you're going to put into the horse trust. You need to compute the amount of property necessary to care for your horse based on your horse's life expectancy, the standard of living that you wish to provide for your horse, and the need for potentially expensive medical care. You also want to provide a fund for a horse sitter or professional groomer in the event that your horse guardian is temporarily unavailable to personally provide for your horse. They're on vacation or they're in the hospital. The next thing that your horse trust needs is you need to describe the standard of living that you want for your horse. Specify the type of care for your horse and provide your horse guardian with general guidelines to prevent claims that your horse guardian is expending an unreasonable amount on your horse and to prevent your horse guardian from expending excessive funds. Typical expenses include food, housing, grooming, medical care, and burial or cremation fees. The next thing we need to do, Florial, is to determine the distribution method to direct your trustee to pay your horse guardian. The horse guardian can be paid either with a fixed monthly sum and reimbursement for expenses, out-of-pocket expenses, or the trustee or reimbursement for receipts on a periodic basis after the trustee reviews and approves the receipts as expenses deemed appropriate to carry out your instructions. And sometimes your horse can be a burden on the horse guardian. So establish additional distributions for your horse guardian may encourage your horse guardian to continue. And also your horse guardian may feel more duty bound to provide good care if your horse guardian is receiving additional distributions contingent on providing your horse with appropriate care. The next thing that your perfect equine estate plan needs is to be limited. You have to limit the trust to the life of your horse, according to California statutes. You need to designate a remainder beneficiary. A remainder beneficiary is someone who takes the trust property after your horse's death. You can name anyone you want to. It's not advised to name your horse guardian because it may tempt your horse guardian to speed up the death of your horse to get to the trust property. But you can leave it to a horse rescue, knowing that if there's any misappropriation of funds, the Attorney General is involved in the investigation. You can require your trustee to inspect your horse on a regular basis. Direct your trustee to make in-person inspections at random times to determine your horse guardian is making sure that your horse's physical and psychological condition is good. Now, we have shared immediate steps that you can take to keep your horse safe. We've shared the perfect estate plan, and we've shared what your perfect estate plan needs to be enforceable. My mission is to keep as many American horses from the awful fate of kill pens in Canada and Mexico. If you're unfamiliar with those, there's an excellent documentary called Equine Destiny on YouTube. I urge you to watch that if you don't have the perfect estate plan for your horse, and hopefully that motivates you to make a safe life for your horse after your life is over. I want to thank Robin Gross, the videographer and cameraman, for his effort, excellent effort. I want to thank Dr. Gabby Gross, my friend and colleague, for making all these arrangements. And I want to thank Peggy Cherry, the amazing owner of this wonderful horse, Florial, who's very loving and caring for him.